Hello and welcome to the Energy Monitor video interview series coming at you live from Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, where we're at the COP27 International Climate Summit. My name is Dave Keating, and today I'm joined by Megan Morikawa, who is the Global Director of Sustainability at Iberostar. Megan, thank you so much for joining us today. So tell me, what have you been talking about? You've been here a little over a week. What have you been talking to everybody about while you're here?
So Iberostar, as a tourism organization, is incredibly enthusiastic about any action tourism is making to decarbonize. We represent roughly 11% of global emissions. And last year was the first year that the Glasgow Declaration for Tourism was made to get companies to commit to halving emissions by 2030 and reaching net zero across the industry by 2050. So we're here very excited to be launching our decarbonization roadmap, delivering our climate action plan 1 year after committing, where we're demonstrating it's possible for a multinational accommodation business to not only have emissions by 2030, but doing so just by decarbonizing before relying on traditional carbon credits. But we have also got a great program where we're focusing on, for the remaining carbon footprint that we have by 2030, protecting and restoring nature in our destinations. And so we're very excited about the climate adaptation and resilience building dialogue that's also happening here at COP.
Yeah, I mean, every business has its role to play in decarbonization, right? When you're thinking about the outcome at the end of this week, whenever it comes, what to you would be a sign of success, particularly from Iberostar's perspective? What are you keen to see in that ending agreement?
I think this COP generally is all about moving from commitments to implementation, and so what I'm very keen to see, we showed very clearly in our roadmaps, our level of ambition is not possible without renewable energy transitions in our destinations, right? And so what we're keen to see is how conferences like this can really facilitate these public-private partnerships and public-private dialogues for us to start to say, what are the needs that we have as an industry to ask for renewable energy transitions? How can we be collaborating across our supply chains to think about decarbonizing our Scope 3 as well? And those industry-to-industry dialogues are what I'm looking forward most towards leading us in implementation to actually make sure that we can make our targets as accommodation and as tourism to net zero to 2050.
So, of course, at the end of all this, all these policymakers, all these delegates are going to go home to their home countries, and they're going to have to really implement what was agreed. Like every COP, we have a global target, and then everybody's got to work toward it. What are you looking for in terms of a policy framework at national levels, really around the world, in order to get the type of incentive that you need in your type of business to be able to maximize emissions reduction potential?
I think for us, three things we're very excited about coming out of this COP. The first are the annually renewing NDCs to see how ambition for renewable energy transitions in destinations that have harder gaps to close. That's going to mean a lot for our ability to be able to decarbonize our direct emissions and our electricity consumption as part of tourism. That's the first. The second is we're incredibly enthusiastic about the evolution of Article 6 from our ability to start to work with nations on accounting for their nature as compensation and biodiversity protection. That's something that really boosts ecosystem services for tourism. So we're incredibly enthusiastic about those components. And then third in particular, we're really, really excited that tourism is taking a stance to think really critically about how we can work as a sector to organize and actually start thinking very critically about lessons learned to build collective actions. So next steps from the Glasgow Declaration are definitely one of our most exciting moments for us to be engaged in next steps.
Cool. Well, Megan, thanks so much for walking us through the tourism perspective here at COP27. And thank you for watching. Again, we're coming at you live from Sharm el Sheikh in Egypt, and we'll see you for the next video interview.